back to my channel, and today we're going to be learning how to do this. So we will be learning how to do a bat to Dracula and Dracula back to bat morph animation. Okay, so it's a cheap trick that could give you a really big step forward in doing visual effects. So the first thing that we need to tackle is the animation of the bat and producing hundreds of bats in one scene. You could either do it in 3D, model a bat, and use the particles to generate hundreds of bats, but it will take a lot of time. So this one here is a very cheap approach on how to do this type of effect. Okay, so let's go to this layer right here, bat front fly. Okay, so I downloaded a picture of a fly. Where's that thing? I think this one right here, this one right here, and I drag it to my comp and I separate them using a mask. Okay, and I adjusted their anchor points. Okay, so if you go to the left wing, and the anchor point is right here, so you could select this tool right here and you could adjust the anchor point, okay, if you want that. And same as the other wing, adjust the anchor point, and then I just basically animated them. So if you want to see the keyframes, these are the keyframes that I had, just the position and the rotation. Okay, just a very basic animation. Okay, and from there I downloaded a background. Where's that background? This one right here. I downloaded a background. So let's do a new comp. Okay, 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second, and I'm just gonna drag my background like that, and just gonna rename it as Dracula BG. Scale it up, okay, and let's put it into 3D. Okay, and from here I will drag my bat front fly animation. Okay, I'm going to drag my bat front fly animation. I'm just going to put it here and I'm going to turn it off. Okay, the next thing we need to do is generate a particle. Okay, I'm going to press Ctrl Y to create a solid, and I'm going to say I'm going to name it as particle bat. Let's do the leaving first, okay? Because I'm going to divide this one into three types of particle bats. First will be particle bat from the castle, then particle bat entering and forming into a human, and particle bat leaving. Okay? So I'm going to hit that OK button, and I'm going to call in CC particle world. Okay, CC particle world, and then I need to generate a camera. Okay, let's just do a 35 millimeter. Press OK, and let's select our particle bat leaving. Let's drag the timeline, and you can see that we have a default particle flowing. This is actually a 3D, so if you select the camera and you rotate it, it's all in 3D. So let me scale up my background. Just push it all the way, just like that. Okay. Now from the particle, the first thing we need to do is assign the textures. Okay. So I'm going to drop the particle type, and from the particle type, I need to select texture quad polygon, and the particle will disappear because now you need to go under texture layer, and choose bat front fly. Okay. So now when you scrub the timeline, you have bats flying all over. Okay, but we don't need that kind of flow on the particle, so we need to adjust on the physics. Okay, so under physics, I'm going to switch it to fire. Okay, and from fire, I'm just going to rotate the camera. Okay, because I'm just going to rotate the camera like so. So now the bat is facing us, but then my background will be affected. So I'm just going to move my background all the way to the Z, and I'm going to rotate it. Just because this is easier for my particle. So let me rotate my just a little bit. Okay. So we have that. Switch to fit. Okay. So now that I rotated my camera, if you press 0, now the bats are flying towards you, towards the camera. Okay. So let's click on the particle bat again, and let's adjust some settings here. Particle birth, if you put it to 3, it's going to be a lot of bats, which what we want. Then longevity, I'm going to put the longevity all the way to 4 so that they last longer. Okay, it's pretty cool right there, right? Just bats all over, hundreds of bats. And on the producer, I think the producer is okay. And the velocity, inherent animation, let's put it at 5. And gravity is okay. Resistance, we could put it to 0.1. Okay, let's play it out. Okay, looks pretty cool. Extra, I think extra is okay. And I think we're good on the physics, and we need to randomize the size. So under particle size variation, I'm just going to crank it up to 100. Okay, You could make it similar, but I want to have random sizes. Max opacity to 100. And you can play along with all the settings over here. Okay, let's check our recording. Okay, we're doing pretty good, and the opacity map is okay. And now what we wanted is, like I said a while ago, is 3 types of particles. So if I switch to my main comp, okay, let me turn off all these adjustment layers. And if you look at these 3 particles, okay, let me okay, that's the first one. Okay, this one right here is particle bat from castle. Okay, that's the first particle. This one right here is particle bat enter. Okay, that's particle bat enter. And the next one is this one right here, particle bat leave, which is what we're working on right now. Okay, so we go to our working comp, and we need to set the animation of the bat to hold its animation on a certain frame and then let it fly on another frame. So to do that, we need to, I'm going to go halfway. Okay, let's say 10, and under extras, I'm going to drop down extras, and there's a property over here that hold particle release. Okay, so I'm going to crank it up to 100. Okay, so now the bats are actually like steady, like so. Okay, so this will be our particle bat leaving. So I'm gonna let it stay for halfway. Okay, and I'm gonna keyframe it, and I'm gonna scrub all the way here, and I'm gonna go all the way 0. Okay, so if you go back to the very first frame, you get an animation like this. Okay, that's the particle bat leaving. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to get the particle bat entering. Okay, so I'm going to double click it. I'm going to duplicate the particle bat leaving, and I'm going to rename this guy particle bat entering. Okay, I'm going to switch off my particle bat leaving. Maybe just solo this guy right here. Now, what we need to do for this one is going to be reverse. Okay, so instead of uh, holding the particle, I need it to fly first and then hold. Okay, so let's press U right here, and let's move this animation over here. Okay, so it's gonna go with this. And what we can do right now is we can separate this one. Just gonna go add over here. Okay, let's move a few more frames. Oop, what happened to that one? That one went weird. Okay, so I'm gonna select this guy right here and Control Shift and D. Why is it not working? So I'm just gonna chop this guy right here, and I'm gonna duplicate it this one. Okay, so let's do it again. Particle bat entering. I'm gonna cut it over here, and the leaving, let's cut it over here. Okay, so that it has a certain amount of frames for transition. Okay, so now the bats are coming in, group, and then group leaves. Okay, so we have that. So let's try to get a certain frame that we can adjust. Okay, let's adjust the particles. So I'm going to go to particle physics, maybe the velocity, just lessen the velocity just a little bit. Okay, just lessen the velocity, and I'm gonna size variation is, I'm just gonna switch it to 0, and the extra, let's try to put it to 0 and see what we have. Okay, definitely need the extra. So we have this, and I just need to animate the opacity. Okay, I'm just gonna go 100 to 0. Okay, just like that. And I can play with the gravity for a little bit. So let's try to reverse the gravity. Okay, because right now our bats are coming from our point of direction going to the center. So I want the bats to come in from the castle to this location right here. So what I need to do is I'm going to set the gravity to negative 0.5, and now, okay, and now the bats are coming in just like so. So let's like that, and then they fly off. Okay, so I just switched the gravity to negative, and then animate the opacity. So particle bat entering, holds a few frames, and then bats leaving like that. Okay, so we have the particle bat entering and particle bat leaving. Now the first one, the first one that we need is the particle bats that are coming from the castle. Okay, so if you look at my main comp, over here, particle bat from the castle. Okay, see this one right here, they come out from the window, they zigzag, and they went all the way to the center. Okay, so let's try to recreate that one again. So to do that, we need to make a new null. Okay, and make that null. So I'm just gonna rename this null null bat, or just name null bat. I'm gonna make it 3D. Okay, and let's try to rotate and orient it properly. So I'm just gonna go like this. Okay, so that it's easily understood. Okay, now I wanted it to start all the way back to the window, so I'm just going to drag it all the way back into 3D space. Okay, all the way back to 3D space. You will feel it because now the farther the null gets, the harder it is to translate it like that. Okay, and I'm kind of doing it, I like it doing manually so that I can feel how far it is. Okay, so I'm going to start just right here. Okay, now I'm going to animate the position, the orientation. Okay, and I think that's all we need for now. Okay, and I'm gonna go all the way here. By the time it hits on these frames right here, okay, I need to move the null. Okay, move it to the Z or to the Z, and just kind of eyeball it since the camera is just front. I'm just eyeballing it for now. Just move it. Okay, just move it like so. Okay, just keep it like that. Right there. Okay, so we have an animation of our null in 3D space from the castle to this point, but we need to zigzag it, make it nice and pretty. So I'm just gonna go over here and I'm gonna move it on the X, making it a nice curve. Okay, and then I'm gonna move a little bit over here, and then I'm gonna move it just like that. Okay, so now I have a nice animation, just like so. And I can even press F9. Yeah, I think I just paused it. Okay, so let's continue. So now we have a nice animation of our null, and then we need to create our third particle. Okay, just gonna go to Control Y, and I'm gonna make a solid, name it particle bat from the castle. Okay, and I'm gonna assign a CC particle world. Okay, and from here, what we need to do is we can assign the bats first. Okay, if you want, just go to textured quad poly, go to texture, and assign the bats like that, and then we go to our producer. Okay, now there is a script that I saw a tutorial. This is the link. Okay, you could type the title and you will see the tutorial about assigning an expression to the positions of the particle. It's a really great tutorial. And I can also post, copy and paste this one under my YouTube video. So we will use this expression to put on the X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now you just need to be careful in naming our null. Now over here it says null1, but our null name is null bat. So we just need to rename this one to null bat. So to do that, let's copy the first one. This is the X, the position X. Okay. And I'm gonna alt click. Okay. Alt click on position X, paste it, and then over here I'm gonna rename it as null bat. Okay, just like so. And I'm gonna go to my Y, copy this one. Okay. And I'm gonna do alt left click on the Y, Control V, okay. And let's name it null bat. Okay, and let's do it on the Z. Copy, alt click, and Control V, null bat. Okay, so now we copied our expressions, and look at our bats playing on the animation of the null, just like that. So next is we need to adjust our birth rate. Let's put our birth rate to 4 and our longevity to 4 as well. Producer is good, and our physics, let's put our physics to twirl. Okay. And then our gravity to 0, our extra to 0, and our velocity to maybe 0.05, okay, maybe 0.1, extra, 0.1, extra will be okay. So now, so from the window, okay, from the window you will see that the bats are coming in and going to the center. Now we need to time the keyframes of this one. So the particle bat entering, its opacity is somewhere over here. Okay, so I'm gonna select my particle bat from castle, press U, not that one, I mean the null bat, and press U, and I'm gonna select all my keyframes. Okay, and I'm gonna press Alt, and I'm gonna left click and drag the last one right here all the way to the needle. So now, okay, I can even adjust it some more. Let's see. Let's adjust it right here. Select it again. Press Alt, left click. Okay, so that we have an early enter. on the bat right there. It enters and then it forms into a circle, and then it flies just like so. Okay. Now, under the particle bat from castle, let's try to decrease the longevity. Let's say 2, okay, so that it doesn't stay too long. Okay, so now if I press 0, bats fly, it forms in, stays out, and then it flies towards the camera. Okay, and then we can do some fade animations over there. So now that we set up the bats, let's set up the actor, you know, so we could animate these bats and morph them into a person. Okay, but first let me adjust the camera. Okay, just gonna drop the camera right here. That, because I want it to form over here, and then it flies. Or maybe, you know what? Let me rotate it just a little bit. And then I need to adjust the background. Go all the way up. Okay, so the guy will be standing right here. So if you go to the main comp, okay, this guy actually, by the way, is the actor from Dracula Untold. And I got inspired to do this tutorial because I watched the show, and I watched it a few times already, and it's really cool. So hence the tutorial. So I was just playing around and see if I could get this at least mimic the tutorial. So now that we have that, what we need to do is pre-comp separately all the bats. So we need them in 3D. So I'm just going to duplicate all the cameras, including the background. I'm going to produce 3 duplicate of the cameras. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Camera 4 will be on the background. Camera 3 will be on the particle bat leaving. Camera 2 will be particle bat entering, and camera 1 will be on the particle bat castle. Okay, then I'm gonna shift select them each, including the null, right click, and I'm gonna go pre-compose, and I'm just gonna say particle bat from castle tutorial. Okay, I'm just gonna add tutorial so that it won't overwrite some of the pre-comps. Okay, we have that, and then we need to pre-comp the particle bat entering, pre-compose, particle bat entering, tut. Okay, that's good. Then I'm going to do the particle bat leaving, pre-compose, particle bat leaving tutorial, and then the background. Okay, Dracula BG tut. Okay, so now that we pre-comp everything, now we could apply color corrections, we could apply any other effects like the morphing effects and stuff like that. Okay, we just need to set up our particles properly. You could adjust whatever you want. Okay, the animation of the bat. And also one thing that you need to do, okay, is let's go inside the bat, and I purposely extend the timeline to 10 seconds, okay? Because if you only let the bat animation into 5 seconds, the particles will get cut off on the 5th second. So you need to match the time frame. So just a tip, okay? So let's see. You have our bat entering, you have this, and then it's leaving. Now, the next thing we need to do is grab our actor. Okay, which one is that guy? This one right here. So this is Dracula 2. Okay. So I'm just gonna drag our Dracula over here. This guy right here. And I'm gonna press S for scale. But you know what? Let's convert this one into 3D first. But we need a camera. Okay, so let me go back to our touch, just copy this one. I'm just gonna copy and I'm gonna press this one. Now our Dracula will be, we need to rotate our Dracula properly. Like that. Okay. We have this guy. Let's see if it matches on the, oh, perfect. Okay. So now we select our camera and our Dracula, right click it, pre-compose, and let's just name Dracula actor dot. Good. So now everything is on 3D. Now we need to start the morph animation. Okay. So I found some really cool tutorials online about morphing in After Effects, and there were a bunch of tutorials, and what I found that is really interesting was a guy who used the liquify effect. Okay, so what we need to do is let me bring down the opacity, okay, of our actor, just temporarily, okay, so we could see what's going on at the back. And under effects and presets, I'm going to type liquify, okay, and I'm going to left click and drag it to our layer. Okay, let's check our recording. Okay, we're recording good. Okay, now select the layer and select this tool right here. Okay, and we have a nice brush, and you could press Control and you could adjust the brush size, or you could do it here on the warp tool options. It's up to you. And then we could start painting. Okay, so what we need to do is paint and match where it's full of bats somewhere on this guy right here. Okay, so let's adjust the brush, and then let's just drag our actor. Okay. Let's drag our actor, just match it. You know, it doesn't need to be accurate. You just need to match its form, its a general form on the bats that are flying. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this guy right here. So this is a really nice tool. Okay, we could match like that. Just keep adjusting. You could do however you want. Okay, you could even pull some here, and just to cover some of the areas such. Okay, so we have that, and that is 100%. Okay, so let's try to see. Okay, so I guess somewhere here that should be our normal guy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keyframe the distortion percentage, and I'm gonna switch it to 0. Okay, so that's our normal guy, and I'm gonna drag it back over here, and I'm gonna switch it to 100. Okay, and the cool thing about this also is you could even go over a value like 150, and then it kind of gives you like weird stuff. So we could drag this keyframe. Where's the liquify? This guy here. So let me drag this guy right here. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's try to save it just in case. Okay, goes like that. And then before it leaves, we need this one right here. We need it to distort. Okay. So over here, I'm just gonna go 100, maybe 150. Okay. And somewhere here, maybe 100. And over here, we should leave it to 0. Okay. It goes like that. So if we select the layer and we press U, this is our keyframe right here. Now we need to match the animation, the same effect on what we're going to do with our particle bat entering. Okay, so let's select our particle bat entering and grab the liquify, drag it over here, and select the same tool. And now we need to shape the particle bat entering into a human. Okay, so just push. Okay, just push the bat entering. Okay, just gonna push it like that. Over here, I'm just gonna drag it. Okay, again, does it need to be accurate? You just need to give a general look on how it matches. Okay. Let's drag the bat over here. Okay, so now we have a liquify effect on the bat. Now I'm gonna keyframe it. Okay, keyframe it and press U so you could see. And let's go back and let's do 50. Okay, and over here maybe 0. Okay, so we go like that. You have a pop over here, and that is the particle bat leaving. Okay, we'll adjust it later. We go like this, and also for the particle bat leaving, I'm gonna copy the particle bat entry. Okay, so I'm just gonna select liquify, edit, copy, go to particle bat leaving, and paste it, and see if we could copy the effect. I'm gonna press U. Okay, over here it should be 100%. Okay, 100%, and then over here it's gonna be 0. Okay, that. So now we have our particle bats shape shifting. Okay, we need to animate the opacity of this guy right here because it looks funny like that. So let's go back to our Dracula actor, and we just need to press T for opacity and go to 100%, paste it. Let me look at the keyframes over here so we have a reference, and I'm gonna go all the way here, and I could go 100%, 0 opacity. Maybe I can move it right here so that there's bats first and then this guy comes in and then shifts just like that. And same on the particle bat leaving. I'm just gonna keyframe the opacity and switch it to 0. Maybe that's too early, so we could go like that. Well, we could move it a little bit over here so we could see the animation. Okay. Now to blend these layers in, we need to do some other effects. Okay, so what we need to do is select the Dracula layer. Okay, let's go to where it's 100% opaque, and I'm gonna Control D. Okay, and the duplicate is, let's rename this guy, let's add it like fill. Okay, so what we need to do is grab a fill effect, and I'm going to color it black. Okay, and under the fill we could add a matte choker, just a simple matte choker, but instead of eroding it in, we need to have a negative value, so we erode it out so it's thicker. Okay, and once we have that, we can add a roughen edges. Okay, and under edge type we could set it to spiky. Okay, and let's crank up the border. Okay, edge sharpness, fractal influence. Okay, we could scale it up, or maybe scale it back in. We could play around along with the stretch. Complexity, we could play around with the complexity. And then we could animate the evolution. Okay, so we could alt left click the evolution and type a basic expression, time asterisk 200, okay, to have a endless loop, something like this. Let me put this one to 1. Just crank it up to the border to 30, maybe 50 if you want. Okay. We could definitely play around. Okay, 0 will be okay. So now we have this, but we need this one to be black first. Okay, so we need to adjust its opacity. So this should be 100, not the distortion, but the opacity. This should be 0, and this should be 100. Okay, click that, and then it disappears back to 0. Okay. Maybe move it a little bit. Once we color correct, this thing is going to look cool. Okay, so we have that. And same effect over here. Okay, so this guy needs to be 0. Okay, then 100. Just maybe 100. Then slowly turns off. Okay, so we have this now. So you could adjust and refine the animation. So what we can do next is color correct the bats. Okay, so now we have that. We can just color correct the bats, and what it did was I went to, where's the bats, enter, and I did more refinement. I added some liquifies and some levels. Okay, changed the black to a dark value, added some levels, and refined the animation. Okay, and I added some, and also one last touch was the bat flying towards the camera. So this guy right here. So this is the main bat that was duplicated on the particle. So I make sure that he's the center that will fly into the camera right there. Okay, so pretty good touch, just like that. And then I added some smoke. Okay, some smoke and some relighting, some vignette, some optical flares, some few adjustment layers, and the black a solid that will, when the bat hits, it goes dark completely, like that. You can even add a camera wiggle. okay, to make the camera shake. So that's it, folks. And hope you learn how to do this really cheap trick on um, morph animation from bat to Dracula to back to bat. Okay, so hope you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. And if you have any suggestions on what type of effects I'm going to do next, please feel free to comment below on the comment section and let me know. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day and goodbye.